I'm Jazmín Mendez. I'm the Houston lead designer for Career Architects, and I'm here today with Dr. Jennifer Blaine. She's the superintendent of Spring Branch ISD. So I wanted to know a bit about you. If you could share a little bit of your career journey and what led you to your current position as superintendent.
So I started in education right out of college. At 22 years old, actually started in a neighboring school district. I spent 10 years there, loved every minute of it, and realized as a classroom teacher that I really wanted to have a greater impact. I worked for some really incredible principals that just inspired me to become a leader. And so I decided to go back, get my master's degree, eventually got my doctorate, and just worked my way up in the system. I came here as an elementary principal, and I've actually held just about every role in the system except to be the CFO. So I don't have a finance background, but I know just enough to be dangerous, but no, I'm kidding.
That's pretty amazing. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face in getting to where you're now?
I've been fortunate to work for amazing people. Just there hasn't been one person I've worked for that I haven't learned something from. But I think for me, my biggest challenge was less about the role, because I always had incredible opportunities. One of the reasons I have been able to be a part of overseeing every division is because people gave me those opportunities, and so I was very, very grateful for that. But I think it was the personal side that probably kept me from stepping into this role sooner. I certainly had opportunities, but there were a couple of things driving that. First of all, I love Spring Branch, so leaving was hard for me. But I also have a son of my own who's a freshman in college now. I just thought he was having an incredible experience here in Spring Branch. I didn't want to move him. I really wanted him to grow up in the school system, and I just felt strongly that he needed that stability. And so it was really that kept me here as long as I've been here, and I love the district. So I would say probably the challenges are more around balancing the work life, I think.
Balancing everything.
Yes, trying to be at all his events, making sure I'm taking care of my responsibilities here in Spring Branch. And so that's been hard. I have a wonderful husband, and so I'm fortunate in that regard. But anyway, we figured it out.
And what was a defining moment in your career, and why was it significant?
So I've always wanted to be a superintendent. I kind of felt that need early on when I was a principal. I could have gone and led in another school district, but I really love our district. It's very much a family feel in a large city. And so I would say when I got the call that I was going to have this opportunity, it was definitely a defining moment. I was so excited. It was amazing. So
when you got called for Spring Branch, you're like,
yes, I was like, yes, this is it. This is my dream job. And I'm still living it. Even with all the things we deal with nowadays, I wouldn't step away from it for any amount of money anymore.
That's amazing. So in terms of leadership and influence, how do you define a good leader, and what leadership qualities do you think are most important for women today?
So first of all, I think it's important to lead with integrity, obviously. And I've always led from a perspective of being a servant. And I truly mean that when I say servant leadership. I don't believe there's a job in the system that is beneath a leader, And I think as a female leader, it can be tempting at times. And so many of us have had this conversation to have to prove yourself as the superintendent or the CEO. But really, I think when you demonstrate with your heart and with your passion and you take care of people, I don't think you have to say anything. People will follow you. My dad used to always say, you can call yourself a leader in name, but if no one's following you, you're not really leading anybody. Yeah. So I just think it's those relationships that you build with people is really important.
How do you empower yourself, and how do you empower other women that are around you?
I really think about two women in particular that really gave me a lot of opportunities, put me on committees, encouraged me to do things I wasn't always comfortable doing. And they were actually my two dissertation chairs at Sam Houston State University, Dr. Genevieve Brown and Dr. Beverly Irby. They were always pushing us to do more. It doesn't matter if you only have 5 years of experience in the classroom. You can do this. They didn't want to hear, oh, I don't know, I don't really want to do this, or it's out of my comfort zone, because they just pushed us to be better all the time. And I just feel like those are two people that just really empowered me. And so I always try to do that for others. I try to help people find their passion. I have a lot of teachers that will come talk to me about what their next steps are going to be. And when I hear those things, I always try to make a note and make it intentional to try to put them in positions that can give them the experience that they need to get to the next step in their career.
Now, in terms of goals and advice, what would you say was the best advice you'd ever received from somebody?
So I've received lots of great advice, but I think the one that I've had to fall back on most recently is that you can't control everything that happens. For me, that is something I have to tell myself all the time because I do like to have control. I think most leaders do. But what you can control is how you react and respond to it. So I always try to respond despite whatever it is with grace, integrity, dignity, and try to understanding, until you're walking in somebody's shoes, you may not know why they've said or done something.
And if you were able to go back in time and give yourself some advice when you were younger, what would that advice be?
The list will still be there. And I say that because when I was young in my career, I would be in my office till 10 o'clock at night because there were things to be done. The list was there. I hadn't checked everything off the list. And I missed out, I think, on a lot. Comes a point where you need to put it away and go home. And I have finally learned to do that, sort of. I'm not great at it. So It's not like it's going anywhere.
We also want to make it sustainable, right?
Exactly, not burn out.
Right now, if you were to think of all the different initiatives that you're looking at, what's the one that excites you the most?
We just launched a program at one of our high schools that I have always wanted. I've always wanted to do an early college program. We have 57% of our students live below the poverty line, and it's always been a passion of mine to be able to provide an experience in terms of an early college program where kids can actually get a 2-year degree while they're with us on our dime via a partnership with HCC. And so we are launching that program for next year over at Northbrook High School. And I'm so excited. I can't hardly see straight. I think it's going to be a game changer for kids.
That sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then what message would you like to leave for the viewers of this interview and the Woman to Woman series?
I think don't be afraid to take that next step. There are so many women that have come before us that have charted the path and done so many great things, and you can be part of that group too. Believe in yourself and find those people that you can connect with that can help you. You don't have to do it alone. I've met so many amazing women and just in this role alone that I've connected with, and we support one another. That's one of the things I heard when I decided that this was a path I wanted to take. Well, I kept hearing from people, well, it's really lonely at the top, are you sure you want to do this? And I thought, no, I really want to do it. And then when I stepped into the role, there was a split second where I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm the superintendent. The buck really does stop here, and I'm really responsible for 34,000 kids. And there was a little bit of felt a little bit of a panic. And then I thought, no, I can do this. I can do this. And many women have done this before me, and I'm going to be okay. And the feeling went away. But I just think being able to connect with those other people is super important. It doesn't have to be lonely at the top, and you don't have to go this route alone. There's going to be lots of challenges, and you just can't let that slow you down.
Oh my gosh, this is so inspiring. Makes me my heart warms. Okay, I really like this question. If you could choose one song that plays every time you enter a room, which song that will be?
Oh gosh, there is a song by Mercy Me called Best News Ever. I think sometimes as women, we think we're not enough. It's never enough. We need to do more. But this song is all about, it was about the best news ever, and then talking about your faith and, how you rely on your faith. But there's a line in that song where it says, when you think that good is not good enough. So you're never good enough, you're never doing enough. And it's just, and it kind of goes from there. Just the beat of the music's great, but the words are really inspiring.
And one last question. What is something on your bucket list?
Oh, gosh. So I love the beach. Any beach is a good beach. I don't even care where it is. But I would love to go to Australia. I'd love to travel a little more than I've been able to. We're just to the point in our lives where we're empty nesters, and we're going to start with whatever money's left over after we pay tuition, traveling some. And I really want to go to Australia. I think it looks so pretty.
Yeah.